Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If everybody have a seat. I might ask a question. These folks that are signing up, we don't usually take testimony in the full committee. That's for the subcommittee. Was there a shortage of time in the subcommittee this morning?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we will on a limited time basis. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome everybody to the.
I was going to say, the people have already spoken.
They said they haven't spoken.
Oh, she did.
All right. Well, that's all right. I'll handle it. That's the reason they pay me the big bucks. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome y'all to the House Regulated Industries Committee. We've got just a few bills this afternoon. First off, I have two issues, and we're going to send Representative Gaines on his merry way. You have before you House Bill 1260. Have a seat. If you would tell us what your general premise, and I'll have a discussion, if you don't mind, of our discussion.
So the general premise of the bill, I know many people here have already heard this in subcommittee, but is to create a registry in Georgia of what products, vape products, this is dealing with vaping, but what products are actually legal. Right now, we have a very major issue of illegal, in particular Chinese manufactured vape products that are on our shelves, and retailers are not aware. They have no way to even check what's legal and what's not. The FDA has only approved about 23 products, but also products that were submitted with a timely pre-market tobacco registry. Those are legal products as long as they have not been denied. So retailers are not sure what products are legal. This bill simply creates a registry that ensures retailers are aware of what products are legal, and so that they can check compliance. It also ensures for consumers that they know what products they're getting are legal. And very briefly, Mr. Chairman, I'll just explain the difference between this substitute and what the subcommittee passed. We've been working to try to essentially move this from the Department of Ag to the Department of Revenue, where it makes more sense, I think, to all parties involved. So this, the draft before you today keeps the registry of the Department of Ag, but moves enforcement to the Department of Revenue. I think one of the things that we need to continue considering is to move it entirely to the Department of Revenue. And so that may be a discussion point, but that's why we're here today. The FDA is really not enforcing its laws, enforcing its regulations in any way. The process is broken. So what we're trying to do is create a state level solution to make sure that what is on the shelves in retail stores across the state are legal products, and not these products that have been shipped in from China that nobody has even reviewed in any way to make sure that what consumers are getting are legal products. And that's the simple concept.
That's the concept. If I might make a statement, and if I'm wrong in my statement, you feel free. From the discussions I've had with the author of the bill, it's awful late in the session to be coming up with a bill of this magnitude. When I saw this bill, I had some concerns. First concern that I have is nothing good comes out of the state interacting with anything that the federal government does. The FDA, as I understand, they've got 23 products approved, but they've got literally who knows how many that filed prior to 2020, paid $1,000, and they're on a list, but they haven't been disapproved.
Correct.
So I don't know what that process is, but I'm also told that they do not share that list.
Correct.
So that's correct. They don't share the list
of the ones that are pending but legal. That's right.
So it's kind of a simple process that if we deal with the federal government, we ain't got nothing except three folks or three different products, which isn't in the real world how it operates. Would that be correct?
Well, if we pass this bill, the hundreds of products that are pending that are legal would remain legal in Georgia under this bill,
right?
Not just the 23. Because to your point, the issue is nobody has a list of what those are. and retail stores aren't aware of what's pending and legal versus what is not legal.
Would you also say that in these vape stores, they sell nicotine-based vapes as well as non-nicotine-based vapes?
That's my understanding.
But we're not dealing in this bill. We're not dealing with
This
the
deals with
non-nicotine.
nicotine based. That's right.
All right. The committee meeting, to the committee members, I'd made a suggestion to the author of the bill. That one is that we have a registry already established over at the Attorney General's office. It was established in the 90s for the tobacco tax settlement monies. So they already have a registry there for tobacco products. And my suggestion to the author was we also have a Georgia Department of Revenue alcohol and tobacco division. And to me, reinventing the wheel by sending it over to agriculture. Now, agriculture, we have a great commissioner over there and his staff are great. But you know, there's only so much that we can do before they start looking like Yellowstone in the Wyoming Department of Agriculture. And they didn't want it, I understand. You may have heard this or not, but I've been told that this is getting out of their boundaries. What I would recommend is that we consider using the AG office, their registry. Let the applicants for whatever is already approved that they'll even tell us, but others, let these other vape products, let them file a petition to the Georgia Department of Revenue to alcohol and tobacco. Now, I'm sure this would be just like the feds do, which isn't exactly my way of doing things, but let them, when they file that petition, they would have to use a sworn affidavit that whatever their substance is and how they do it, that their products are legal products and would meet that, and would meet the groundwork. DOR could then send it over and put it on a list. It would only be kept for no other purpose and on the internet by the AG's department. Then we would also put the enforcement under the hands of Department of Revenue, alcohol and tobacco. They have the manpower. They'll probably need some more folks at some point. But in their normal and cursory way of doing business of checking retail outlets and such for alcohol and tobacco issues, then they could check these. That's, a simplified way of doing this. So there's some other issues that need to be addressed. One is that a lot of the vape stores, I understand, either may or may not be paying the excise tax on these products. That needs to be addressed. So, I mean, we've talked about it, and I think you're willing to go ahead and work, but we've got a limited window to try to get something done. And what I'd recommend is get with Sean Marie. I will call a meeting of this committee on Wednesday so we can report it out on Thursday morning to the Rules Committee and then waive the rules and try to get it moved to the floor. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, as bad as I hate to send something out of this committee that's not perfected. But if we can get something out, get it over to the Senate, see how bad they've messed it up, and then we can get it to a conference committee to try to get it down to a workable bill. Is that your agreement?
I'm comfortable with that. And
do you have any members of the committee that you have enough faith to work with?
a lot of members of this committee. It's a great committee.
You pick you out a few. That ain't exactly what I asked, but a good answer though. If you don't mind, pick you out some folks to help you with this. I think it would be worthwhile, maybe in the same tone, when they set a vape, nicotine-based registry as a sub-registry, might even want to consider setting up another sub-registry for non-nicotine-based products that they're panning off as
We'll get to work.
Can I expect to hear from you? Call a meeting on Wednesday, maybe?
We'll be ready.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the efforts on this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, committee, I'm gonna get rid of a couple of small issues. If you'll look, there's a resolution, copy of a draft resolution in your folder. And this is a resolution creating the House Study Committee on Safety and Consumer Protection of Nicotine Vapor Products. It's just a standard resolution that we do, study committee. While the chair has the discretion of doing this in committee, I wanted to let the speaker appoint folks to maybe look at it. I think this is a serious enough issue that it's probably going to take this, no matter if anything it gets passed, it's going to probably take some more investigation to look at it during the interim. This bill will be dropped in the morning. I'll move to have the rule suspended to drop this bill in the morning. And this will also be up to your consideration on Wednesday. So any of y'all that will get with me in the morning, if you'd like to sign on to this resolution, I'd be very grateful. All right. Next up, Chairman Collins, you here? You can present from your chair because we ain't gonna be here that long. Because we got plenty of time on the next bill that comes up. Call up House Bill 1190, Chairman Collins. Which number are you down there? Well, all right.
Okay. Thank you. I bring before the committee consideration House Bill 1190. Over the last several years, I have been contacted by numerous constituents and in various conversations with different members throughout the legislative body. It's been brought to my attention that we have somewhat of an issue down at the Secretary of State's office with boards not meeting regularly for whatever reason. So what we have is a lot of Georgians who apply for licensure through the Secretary of State for whatever profession it may be, have been waiting 90, 120 days in some instances for boards to meet to approve a license. And all this bill does is very, very simple bill, is if you're a Georgian and you apply for a license through the Secretary of State's office to one of the professional licensing boards, your application has everything it needs, and it's been sitting there for 60 days, more than 60 days, that the Secretary of State's office can issue that license for that specific industry, I guess I should say. That's basically all it does. It just kind of helps streamline the process. This committee and other committees have helped streamline the process for a lot of worthy people, whether it may be a veteran spouse, a veteran, what the case may be. And, this, Mr. Speaker, this is just a piece of legislation to help folks like the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker if they're having to work under the license of the Secretary of State's office. So that's it, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any discussion? Number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative, for bringing this bill. I am very concerned about the length of time that it has taken for the Secretary of State to issue licenses, and I think it's a good bill. And I'm also eager and anticipating that there will be monies to go to the Secretary of State Licensure Board so that they can have the capacity to get out the license within the time. But I think it's a great service to our people.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I want to say that the Secretary of State's office, their hands are tied if these boards aren't meeting. I mean, we have the governor appoint these members of these boards, and for whatever reason, they're just not meeting. So this makes sure that people are meeting the requirements set forth in code. If the application is there, they meet all the requirements, then it is issued.
All right. Number 27, who does that be?
Chairman Collins, in looking at this and also being a part of a board for about 10 years, why could we not require whoever serving as chairman of that board at the time that he goes to Macon or wherever they want a meeting, do it over Zoom, and let them approve these licenses every month? That at his discretion, and if there's a problem, he can call the people in the next meeting. But the chairman, you got to have some faith in that individual that he can make determinations on whether it's working with those at the Secretary of State's office, because it seems like the problem is the board getting together, and we elect a chairman of these boards for a reason, and we could do things at his discretion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. If I may, the division director is a paid employee of the state, and I assume that they are there Monday through Friday. And again, this is just done to help streamline the process. And, I think that having a paid employee that looks over these and is responsible, and the buck stops with them, so to speak. So that's what I would say on that.
Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really wished that the book would stop with them, and it probably does, but I think it's a shame when we have appointed people. And I think we need to get with the governor's people and make a rule, and if you miss 2 straight, you're off the boat and let him appoint somebody else, because until the person who has done the appointing says, hey, enough of this, ain't nothing gonna happen. And one thing I've found out about this place in 22 years, this is the tail waggingest, the head place in the world. Tail controls the head here. And if we stop that, bureaucrats will start to do their job. But I'll tell you right now, if they not worried, the board won't even meet, so bureaucrat ain't got to worry about issuing nothing. His bosses don't even come and meet. 2 meetings out. I think that, and that can be worked out with the governor's office. It just, they ain't doing nothing.
To my friend from South Georgia, where the water tastes like cherry wine,
Yes, sir.
I hear what you're saying, and I'll be glad to be the second signer on that piece of legislation.
I'd love to.
That's right.
All right, well, I guess committee member, well, you really did mean to say that the way the tail wags the dog, not it controls the head, even though in real life that may be true.
The tail don't control the head, does it?
Michael, excuse me, Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to be on record saying that first, Jay, that I love you.
Get ready to drop a hammer on him now, but go ahead.
I just have a problem with automatic licensure. I
Me
don't
too.
think that's the route we should go.
It's not the route.
If there's a problem, we have to find.
You had to put the folk off the board.
Yeah.
Because the board don't need.
All right, thank you so much. Any other members that wish to be heard on this matter? All right. Make a comment to this. This is getting into some extreme measures, but we've talked about it all session about the situation over at the licensing division over Secretary of State's office. One, they don't have enough people. And that's not the fault of the folks who work there. They are worked thin. They don't have enough people to work. Some of the finest folks I know, and I've repeated the joint secretary and them, they do the best they can. And then to complicate things even worse, they got this goal system for renewal that is absolutely bears a lot of scrutiny for the renewals. And there's issues with that. But they're doing their best. I'm hoping, I didn't look to see if the money that we'd recommended in the budget stayed in the budget to get them some help in the small budget and hopefully move toward the big budget. But there's a problem there. And then you got another problem that I think that Chairman Collins addressed. You have a variety of boards, appointed boards there. And a lot of times those boards aren't necessarily up there for the safety and well-being of the consumer Georgians. A lot of times those boards have a duty to protect their own industry from competition. I see heads are shaking because there's some folks that ain't been here as long as I have that can see the same thing. So that being said, this is, while as Representative Smith had said, this might be an extreme measure, but if nothing else, this might be a message, if nothing else. So that being said, what is the will of this committee?
Move to pass.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any comments? Any amendments? If not, all in favor say aye. And the ayes have it. Thank you, Representative Collins. And then last but not least, one bill that they are selling tickets out there on the street for. Here you have it in front of you today. Substitute to House Bill 349. I haven't had a chance to get into it very much today to look at it. This is I believe the original bill was Representative Fleming's bill, that he left and decided he'd be a Superior Court judge, which ought to tell y'all folks a little something of what I've told him for years about handling cosmetology bills. He'd rather issue this death sentence to criminals than had to carry this bill, so he resigned. And y'all may remember the action on the floor last year that we had a perfectly fine young representative who absolutely thought that he'd been shot down in an air war from the well last year. And then we have our dear friend from the coast, Representative Williams, who's decided to pick this bill up and handle it. So we are all ears if you would go through this bill with us, section by section. And we have a list of folks that signed up. Did I understand that everybody that signed up did not have a chance to testify in the subcommittee? All right. We're going to give everybody just a minute or two. All right. Mr. Williams, have at it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wished I could get royalties on those tickets that's being sold outside. And since I'm not a lawyer, I won't get to be a judge, just lynched at the county line. This is quite a bill. And all the bill's real intent was to eliminate conflicting statements, update, which you have to do, some of the licensing language, to update the language. And the original intent was to make it simpler for people to get a job. There were some areas that it was lowered in, and be able to prosper in their chosen profession. That sounds very simple, and it's simple in most things except a cosmetology bill. It gets deep. Well, each one of these sections changes some language, does what the intent was, emphasis on sanitation and safety. And personally, I'll tell you the truth. You can't sacrifice either one of those, because you start dealing in chemicals, you can ruin people's lives. So transportation, sanitation, and safety off the table for discussion. It does not need to be lightened up. Now, the schooling, the reduction there, I think, is good for everybody. Parents can do it in 10 months. Finish school, be able to finish school and be licensed in 5 months or less if you go on to school. And I've heard, and I empathize with cost. I really empathize. I was born, my mama was a country school teacher. She didn't make any money. My daddy was a laborer. And I waited tables to get in school, trust me. And when I went to college, there were no federal funds to borrow. Happened in my second or third year, but by that time I was doing pretty good. I got mad when they asked me to graduate because I was making a lot of money in college. But I don't think, I think there's always a path, but there's some things can't be compromised. And you get into trouble when you start compromising. And Miss Louise Stafford did hair in her kitchen for years and years. People were happy. And if you got burnt with a hot comb, you couldn't complain because she was bootlegging anyhow. So it was an interesting affair. We've tried to make this work. And as author of this bill, I'm gonna make a couple of recommendations. Now, the 3 new licenses that we created, it's created such and I can't say what kind of storm it is here in a public committee, but it has been a sandstorm of great magnitude. And there were several members of the committee who has recommended that we drop the licensure requirements for those 3 newest ones, because we did not require them in the studios and certain other special occasions. So obviously we could work with this. That's one recommendation. Couple of changes on the mobile. The only one's not a real major one. We had the word trailer in there, and we've just expanded it to either or trailer or mobile self-contained. No real changes there. But trying to work out something where everybody loses a little bit and everybody gains something without compromising the responsibilities of the cosmetology boards. We can't compromise that. We can work with them some. But this has been a journey, and thank you, Subcommittee Chairman Ridley, for all of your help, and Chairman Alan Powell, my dear friend, who I was thanking for giving me this bill, and I'm taking another look at our friendship. But thank you. It wouldn't have been possible without you, Ms. Kendricks, because you know the deal. You got 45 years in it, and I appreciate all your help and all of your input. And Sean Marie, who she must be ready to just leave us because we've rewritten this one so much. I think they're gonna put a paper tax on this bill, but she's certainly been very, very helpful. But nothing happens without Jan just running it, and I appreciate it, Jan, so much. I'd like, Mr. Chairman, consider dropping those 3 license requirements for those 3 fields and accepting the change in the mobile piece by expanding upon it from just saying trailer. And I'll entertain any questions for about the next 30 seconds, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. I walked you through it, but this is what I call electrified walk. There's a bulldog behind us, so we had to hurry. This is my electric walk before dinner, after you've missed lunch. All right.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you, my good and dear friend, Mr. Williams. If I might, I'm going to deviate from the practice of the chair. We have someone from the cosmetology board. Okay. If you don't mind, would you go to the podium and just answer a few questions for us? See if this won't help us real quick. Would you tell me, if I'm looking most of the bill, the first half of this bill is probably definitions and the such. Then you get into a section in here. Was there any definitions changed?
It's not really changed, it's expanded on things like, now we have a lot of salons and suites. And with salon owners listed as suites not listed in the law. So.
You say, I'm sorry, you said. I'm sorry.
Instead of calling them suites instead of group rentals or whatever.
It's 25% more, huh?
Hey, hold on. If you could hold on a minute, I'm trying to get this podium speaker on, and they've got something new here, and this thing just doesn't seem to be want to work quite right. Stuck. All right, now it's unstuck. Now
Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Most of it is not changing the definition in some of the new, it's just adding today's language to it. Because we had salons, we had shops, we had facilities, but we didn't have the word suites, and they kept arguing with us that a suite doesn't fall under the law, although it is a facility. So we just added the language to meet today's people.
suite, you mean
Suite,
like
yes, sir.
SUITE?
Like a salon suite, like a.
Suite.
Mhm.
Hotel suite.
So you can go to one and you can get your hair done for $50, $20. You got another one,
Yeah.
you get it done for 30, and you get a
Exactly.
suite that's 100.
Whatever you call it.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Was there any changes, any substantial changes in anything other than clarifying language?
There were a couple of things that we had initiated, and one was if a person has a cosmetology license and an instructor's license, in order to get the instructor's license, you had to have the professional license first. So we thought that we could cut the cost to the people by, once they had their instructor's license, they didn't have to renew that professional license for a cosmetologist. The instructor's license covered all of them. And so that also allowed more
Combined
instructors in the field. It combined it together and makes cost effective.
All right, I notice it, in this rewrite, it's, got the language for the board itself. Did any of that
No,
change?
none of that changed.
All right. All right. None of the hours of instruction changed?
None of that changed.
Everything stayed the same?
Everything stayed the same.
All right. I noticed that Representative Williams tap danced around something about 3 different new licenses. Could you tell us where
Yes,
they
sir.
are?
The industry for a lot of years have asked us to have a license for people who just want to do hair removal. That's been asked of us about 10 years. And so this smaller bill would give a person the ability to go to school for lesser hours, lesser expense, but still be able to have a good occupation. In the last couple of years, we have had the niche bills that have tried to deregulate washing and blow drying, makeup artistry, and some of the other parts of it. And they kept telling us because it took too long to go to school and it cost too much. Well, my theory is don't throw it away, don't not educate them, but lower it where they can meet their standards. So this was our compromise to deregulation part of our industry. So if a person could go to school for 3 months to 5 months, or they could apprentice for 6 months. They could have a license to work in this industry and make a good income and not have to spend the cost that it costs to go to school for 1,500 hours or 1,200 hours. That's the reason we put that in there. We're trying to meet the needs of the industry, trying to meet the needs of the economy, and trying to make it where people can get into the industry rather than to put people out here working in an industry with no license, not able to protect the consumers. You put them at a disadvantage because they don't have an education and they don't have any business skills. We teach them business management and they don't have any sanitation. So you open them up for liabilities. So that was the purpose in adding those 3 smaller bills.
Could you tell us where those are located in here so we can look at that?
Sean, do you have them?
Yeah, 301.
I'm sorry. The newest one? I'm sorry. Okay. They'll be towards the end. When you go to the definitions for the modalities, the licensures, you're going to see cosmetology, you're going to see aesthetics, you're going to see nails. You go on down below that
Can
too.
you give us a line number on the
I'm
bill?
looking for it. Yes, sir.
Hmm.
The hair designer would be starting at line 46.
Okay.
All the way up there.
I need to find where, the hairstylist is at 46.
Mhm. Hair designer is 48.
Hair designer is already a license that we
Yeah.
have. Okay. All right, hairstylist starts at 58. And they go down there to the hairstylist apprentice is 60. And the instructor for that is at 64.
Hmm.
Forty-three -10 -7, starting at line 301. And then that has the requirements, and it starts with hairstylist at 320.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Down on 318 is hair removal specialist. 321 E is hairstylist. And then 324 F is makeup artist.
320.
Which was that last one?
324 F is makeup artistry.
All right.
You are right. It did get left out.
Beg your pardon.
The apprentice before the hairstylist got over. We had to put that,
Yes.
need to put that back.
All right.
I'm sorry. Yes.
All right. So we see where that is. Can you go on through the bill? Let's get through it and then, we'll let some folks testify and then let the committee get into the mix of it, asking questions. All right?
So basically, what we're asking for is instead of deregulating any of this industry and putting consumers at danger, and I know that the law says that you have to prove that it poses a threat to consumers. And anytime you're allowing people to repetitively perform a service on someone without any sanitation or any regulations or any oversight, the potential to spread contagious diseases and disorders is very strong. And so that's what the cosmetology board's job is, to protect consumers from that. And our education is to teach them how to perform these services safely, how to perform them without harming themselves or the consumers or spreading contagious diseases. That's basically what the cosmetology board's job is.
All right. All right, if you would, go ahead about the page and the line number, any other changes that you see that we need to know about?
The only other thing, pretty much everything is the same. We did have some language about, that we had in our bill before, language for military spouses that could automatically endorse a license from state to state. And I believe cosmetology was the only one that was mentioned, and we changed that to make it meet anybody that's in the military service, whatever modality they choose to be in our industry, that they can come and their licenses are turned over in a 24-hour period, license for license. And I think that was the only other change, wasn't it, Sean?
All right.
And let me get one more look.
All right, any other changes that you think is pertinent we need to know about?
I know that we had discussed adding a piece of legislation that someone else had wanted to introduce that was about border licenses, people that lived on one side of the line, say South Carolina or Georgia, and wanted to work in Georgia. They could get a license in Georgia, but still reside in the other state. We're not opposed to that. I don't know if that language got put in here or not, but I think that was the discussion.
I haven't seen it, Mr. Chairman. This wagon's pretty heavy as it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can carry any more corn.
Pretty much the bill is the
Sean, do you
same.
know if any of that, was any of that language added to it?
Mhm. Right. We endorse a license for a license. They don't have to jump through hoops as long as they have met the standards of passing a written and practical exam.
So we don't have reciprocity with any other state in here.
We do endorsement instead of reciprocity, because reciprocity, that means that state has to meet our standards and we have to meet theirs. With endorsement, we can just endorse a license for a license. So if someone is licensed in California and their license is in good standing, they want to move to Georgia, we can endorse that license as long as it's still licensed and in good standing in their
So
state.
y'all do allow that?
We do allow for that. Yes.
Well, then that would take care of the next door neighbor state then.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what else do we have in this?
I think that's about it.
Can we see, didn't I see some little piece that got Representative Williams's interest about mobile
The
barbering?
mobile barbers, I'm sorry. I thought we'd already discussed that. Yes.
We did, we
Um,
didn't have but one change on.
Okay. We are in favor. For a long time, I was not in favor of mobile barbering, but the barbers are out there. The mobile salons are out there. So the theory is if we license them, then we can govern them and we can control them. We can't control them if they don't have a license. We have no authority to inspect or to do anything. What we would like to have is that the mobile barbers, they not be able to do apprenticeship in their barbers, in the mobile salons, and that they not do any chemical services, that they do barbering services, and that they have adequate hot water and that they have adequate storage space for all of the needs of the services that they do. But we will endorse the mobile salons.
Representative Williams, could you tell me what line number your
Go up to, at 687 is the start. It only goes to 707.
all right, let's take a look. If I might ask a question on this about other provisions, say someone is a licensed barber or cosmetologist, and they want to open up a mobile traveling service.
Mhm.
Say they've got a shop.
Mhm.
All right, now y'all license the individual, but you also license the shop facilities,
correct.
don't you?
That is correct.
So if they want to do a mobile barber, they can, and say they've got a shop, but they want to take it out on the road. They would need a separate license for that mobile.
The way this bill is written now, they would, but I believe that for convenience and for, actually, it would probably be better if they had a freestanding salon and they wanted to move to do both. Then we have a location to go to.
Yeah.
With a mobile facility, we have their homes to go to address issues that they have. Or either we have them meet us somewhere to inspect their facilities.
Right.
I do think those could be coordinated together if that was, if that was the request.
That may be something the committee needs to ask Sean Marie about an amendment on there to clean that up, clarify that. All right.
And if you look at, right at 695, it tells you what the requirements by law would be. It's functioning sinks and toilets, facilities within the mobile shop to include but not limited to a holding tank with adequate wastewater storage and adequate lighting and ventilation in order to practice these services.
Hmm. Not quite sure since I'm not familiar with the mobile barber shop. Representative Williams probably is. I'm looking where, and I can understand the sink toilet facilities on a trailer or
Well, they're like campers. I mean, if you've got
Yeah.
somebody in there and you're doing their hair, you know,
You
They
gotta
might
use
have
the
to go-
bathroom and can get a little tough.
but you also need adequate for washing hands and washing
Yeah.
tools.
You gotta have.
also, if you look down on 701, you've got mobile barbershop trailer or vehicle. You can't put a toilet in a vehicle unless it's got a mighty big trunk.
Well, that's why, I mean, I think they're
Yeah.
considering these units like the food trucks as
Yeah.
vehicles.
Or a mobile truck, it's, most of them will be just like food trucks. You know, they come ready and most trucks, most food trucks are self-contained. And that's the easiest thing to do with the requirements, the health requirements. The easiest thing to do is if you buy a mobile unit, everything's in there
Yes, sir.
that needs to be in there. And that's very, very important to be in there. I don't think you'll find a lot of trailers.
Mm-mm.
I really don't. I just don't. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Plus you driving to people's houses, you drive in their driveway, you don't want to be backing no trailer out.
So.
Hmm? Man, I ain't messing with nothing else.
All right, Kay, we're gonna open up the questions for you and Al.
Okay.
Then we're gonna let some of these good folks testify.
I'm not asking him.
He told- we got-
Number 26.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to the author of the bill, my dear friend, Representative Williams, I want to congratulate you on line 68 through 707 of this bill that deal with the mobile barber. I've been waiting a long time. You've been telling me about this bill for about a year and a half. I knew it was coming.
Before that, I told your husband about 10.
So I'm a big fan of those lines. That may perhaps be the only section of this bill that I'm a fan of. I was looking forward to a mobile barber bill. I should have known there was a problem when I walked in committee and saw how many lines do we have in this bill? 782 lines of new code, every one of them underlined. So my question here is, so I just want to say I support the concept of mobile barbering. I'm glad that we're dealing with it, and I wish you the best of luck there. I have a just quick question. It seems like so much when we're talking about adding new regulations and requirements, or, we often talk about we're updating, we're modernizing language. And I find that oftentimes the devil's in the details. You got to kind of dig down in there. What are we really changing? Because if it was just simple modernization, I don't know that we'd end up with a bill of this magnitude. I do have some concerns there, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing from some folks that work in the industry that can tell me a little bit more about how this new language is going to affect the way that they do business and their ability to make a living in the #1 state in the nation to do business. We talk a lot, and you mentioned, if I may direct my question to Ms. Hendricks, about we don't want to compromise on health, safety, and sanitation. And I agree with that. But my concern there is, are you saying that currently that we are compromising on health, safety, and sanitation in the state? Because I have to tell you, because I speak to a lot of people in this industry, and it is, as it stands now today, without any changes, I think it is one of the most regulated, if not over-regulated industries in the state. So I don't, if you're saying that we're having to do a lot of this on the guise of we need to improve or health, safety, and sanitation, I don't know that I have not heard that there are currently concerns about the way that we operate and the way that we regulate this industry in terms of those concerns.
They're not concerns about that. The reason why this bill looks like a whole new bill is because when Barry Fleming and I started, and we needed to, in 2015, we combined the Barber Board and the Cosmetology Board. I didn't see having two governing boards that did the same thing. So for the cost effectiveness, I said, let's combine them, and we did. In doing that, we left out some things that needed to be in there, like we did not allow for a barber to apprentice, but we had a barber to license. And just different things that got left out, some from old language and some from new language. So Barry said, let's just gut it, let's start over, let's rewrite it. But we put the exact same language in there that was in there originally, we just corrected the mistakes. And along the way, last year when we introduced this bill, it got kind of hijacked by the niche bill that was the blow dry styling bill that would have taken away that license to do that. And it kind of overshadowed everything else that we were doing. The Senate bill that passed to do away with blow dry styling and makeup artistry, they kept telling us that we needed to have lower hours for those parts of our industry, and that we needed to have that. Well, we understood that, except if you don't have any hours, you don't have any training, and you don't have any oversight, then you are going to compromise the safety of the consumers of this state. So our answer to them saying that they wanted lower hours was to add these 3 smaller licensees. That's why that was there. We do already govern that. They're already fall under the cosmetology and the barber industry, but they have to go to school for longer hours and learn things that they might not necessarily want to do. So that's what the argument is. Why should I go to school for 1,500 hours if all I want to do is makeup? And I agree. Why should I go to school 1,500 hours if all I want to do is wash and blow dry and style hair? And I agree. So this was our answer to that. If you went back to what we were doing before and you just took out those 3 phases, we will go back to what we were doing. And the only difference in this bill would be some language correction and the mobile barber bill.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Speaker, just a quick follow-up. And I think most of us, or at least some of us, do know that there has been a movement and a push to deregulate certain aspects, not all, certain aspects of the cosmetology industry that perhaps don't need the kind of regulation that they currently experience. And certainly on the issue, I know, of the blow drying and the styling. So I guess my question to you would be, I'm sure that you are aware that, legislation is on the move, right, to sort of address that issue. So here what you're doing is you're putting those, you're saying here we need to add additional licenses, right, for these additional types of services. I just want to be clear that that's the motivation.
Yes. And to understand, when you deregulate just the washing and the blow drying, you can't, if you aren't trained to identify disorders and diseases, and you use the same tools on more than one person. Now, everyone in your salon has got those disorders and diseases, and some of them are invisible diseases until they're full-blown infections. So you can't say, well, her scalp is clean, so I can use the same brush on her and 10 other ladies. By the end of the month, those 10 ladies all have whatever this person has, be it ringworm, be it, hepatitis, be it whatever the disease or disorder someone is carrying, then the rest of the society is going to have it. That's the idea in the sanitation, to make sure that we're using clean, sanitized tools on each different
Right.
client.
And if I may just real quickly, follow up on that. So that sanitation, that health and sanitation, that's a particular aspect, a course that they take. Is that
It
correct?
is. It is a part of our curriculum. Yeah.
Right. It is part of your, how long is that course?
Well, with the blow drying, you're learning all of the aspects of sanitation. You're learning consumer safety and product knowledge. You're learning how to identify, we even identify cancers on people's body and refer them to doctors. You're also teaching them business skills, business management. So to tell you how many hours is spent just on sanitation, you're probably looking at about 250 hours total.
That's extensive. And business management, is that a required skill to be able to do a blow dry?
If you're going to run a business, yeah.
Well, I appreciate that it's a admirable quality to
Right,
have, and it's
right.
good to have understanding of that. Should it be required for licensure?
Not necessarily. It's just what we teach to help them succeed.
Right. And just my final question would just be that I think we also know that we've talked about in the aspect of specifically as relates to the blowouts that the folks who have been interested in that are also very receptive to the completion of the health and safety and sanitation course as a part of that.
Initially, when this was introduced, we were told that they would not have to have any kind of oversight. They would not have to have any governing oversight over their salons. There would be no inspections. They would not have to have any education or any training whatsoever.
And then my last question, the language here in the bill, when it defines, I think, locales and locations for the business to operate,
Mhm.
my understanding is these cannot be in people's private homes. They have to have an outbuilding. Is that correct?
You can do it in your home. There are salons that are in homes. They are just separated from their personal residence.
Okay.
And we have a lot of home salons. Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have for now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I appreciate the legislation. Obviously, I was on the other side against you on the last time, and I think there was a call to action on me saying I was about to open a blow dry shop. Sorry, and I hope that as we get through this legislation, if I support it, that you'll send that same call to action out that says he supported our legislation.
I'll be happy to.
I definitely want to, I definitely think we need to put the apprentice language in,
Yes, sir.
when we get to that point. I also think the conversation on the mobile barber with the toilet facilities is probably a stretch. Food trucks don't have toilets.
You won't even let me cut hair. You can serve food without a toilet.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need, so I think that conversation needs to be had, because most of those trailers are probably not going to have toilets. They'll have gray water tanks, but they're not going to have sewer tanks. And I think the conversation that the chairman had with, having a store and a trailer, I just want to make sure we're not requiring you to have a store to get a trailer, because
No.
that kind of defeats the whole purpose,
No,
I
sir.
think, of getting people in the market. Other than that, obviously, I think, especially on some of these lower credit hours, apprenticeship, if you could match that with schooling, I think 300 hours of school or apprenticeship in hair removal I think you're going to get to the same place on it. So just conversation pieces.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to echo Chairman Carpenter's on the gray water. I had to agree, but I just had just two things. So on the military reciprocity, you said you could turn those over in 24 hours?
We were turning them over in 24 hours. And what's happened to address the licensing issue is our board meets every month. The problem is this new system, we're backed up and we can't get into the system to do any of these applications. But we were turning our regular applications over in 7 days. If there were no illegal activity on the application, if it was a clean application, we were turning them around in 7 days. And on the military, we were turning them around in 24 hours, 48 at the most. And that was a courtesy. Also, what most people didn't understand was before we changed the bill and we added that into our language, a military spouse could only work on a military base in the state of Georgia. There are not enough salons on a military base for those people. And I didn't see why we should limit them that. So in 2015, when we added this part of our language, we gave them the right to work anywhere they choose in the state of Georgia. Why do you restrict them to a military base? So,
Well, Mr. Chairman, I just want to add, just to the comment, would she please train everybody else? I mean, I think Chairman Collins had a bill that this is trying to address, and the lovely lady from the cosmetology board is doing the people's work by turning them over so quickly. And I appreciate you for doing that.
thank you.
Thank you.
23.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, what's the will of the committee? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. We've got folks who wanted to testify.
Thank you. Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, Kay, we appreciate it. All right, if I might ask, since it's getting late in the day, it's 6 o'clock. If I might ask, could you, if there's any redundancy, kind of combine your comments and just rapidly come up and just speak, maybe a minute or so. Austin, no, that's Austin Gibbons. Oh, I'm sorry, we got 2 or 3 bills. LaDasha Wright.
Good afternoon, and my name is LaDosha Wright, and I'm a member of the Beauty Care Professionals of America. In essence of time, because I know you said, you wanted us to go through it. I just really want to start off by saying that number one, I am very, very honored to hear the dialogue that we are having as a licensed cosmetologist. We so appreciate the opportunity to be able to solve the problems in our industry. Oftentimes, we never get the opportunity to address the real world of work from behind the chair. And so I just really want to start off by saying that this is just such a honorable and wonderful opportunity. And I thank each and every one of you for giving us this opportunity. And so briefly, I just want to say again, I am not in opposition of the bill in total. I'm just in opposition of the 3 niche license, but you already covered that. And just no deregulation of our industry. And so I can tell by what you guys said that you are not for that. And just to your point, Mr. Williams, about the ear burning, that just goes to show you again why the education is so important, because sometimes what we take from home, we bring it to work. And we understand that unfortunately hair is now being racialized, and with the influence of social media, just kind of dumbing down and people really thinking that they can go and watch a video and do what we do. And to hear you guys say that you respect and you understand what is happening, like the questions that she was asking, that really means a lot. And that's all we're asking, is to really help keep the credibility. We do a lot of politicians' hair, and that this is not just something that's willy-nilly. The public is demanding more of us behind the chair by way of technology, and just with the scare, with the relaxers and things of that nature. They've already introduced some bills to help us understand more about shampoos and conditioners and protecting communities of color. So they are concerned about our industry. And so again, I just really wanted to say thank you and point that out, and that we can make more money for the great state of Georgia if we have more education and more training and continue to be responsible tax-paying citizens. And I appreciate you all very much.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Well, yeah, and we do, LaDosha, we appreciate it. Chairman Ridley there, he went to an unlicensed person that didn't have education on how to administer chemicals. All right. Jacqueline Harn. All right, brief,
All right.
please.
I'll be brief. Hello, again, chairman's members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Jacqueline Harn. I'm the Coalition's Director for Americans for Prosperity, Georgia. I'm here to speak against HB 349. At AFP, we believe that dignity of work and the ability to pursue a profession of one's choice are keys to a thriving labor market. Sometimes our occupational licensure requirements create significant barriers to employment and needlessly stand in the way of people reaching their true potential. While we commend the sponsor for the mobile barbershop language as included in this bill, I'd like to quickly raise concern to two portions of this piece of legislation. HB 349 maintains the 1,500-hour licensure requirement for master cosmetologists and master barbers. That is 10 times the training hours that Georgia requires for EMTs to be licensed. Also, regarding the 300 and 500-hour license for blow drying that this bill includes, I'd like to point out that per the professional opinion of the artists that we've been working with that you'll hear from shortly, little to no schools currently offer that particular program. So what would be the motivation for them to change the way they do things and to offer that? Also, keeping in that consideration, what's the actual return on investment from the passage of this legislation? This morning, the subcommittee heard from individuals supporting the legislation from outside the Peach State, but I encourage this committee to listen to the Georgia entrepreneurs who took off work to be here to tell their stories on how this legislation continues to support the current red tape. For this reason, I encourage this committee to vote no on HB 349. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Angela Mackey.
Hi, I'm Angela Mackey. Thank you so much for this opportunity just to be able to speak with you all today. I'm a salon owner and a master's cosmetologist. And like Jacqueline stated earlier, I just believe, just to keep it brief, very brief, because I want to go home too, that it does not need to be the 300 hours and the 500 hours. You can definitely teach the sanitation and disinfection portion in a lot less than that. There's a Barbicide certificate course that is a lot less that you could do in a day, something that's just more accessible for so I would say to just go ahead to exempt this for the amount of hours. So then that way we'll be able to get into the workforce. Even as a licensed master cosmetologist, I desire to hire those individuals just to do the blow dried styling. It's minimal risk. And for a makeup artistry, I would really be using for the blow dry styling aspect of it to minimize the wear and tear on my wrist and to minimize the wear and tear on my body. So that way I can get more clients in and out in my salon. So I would oversee and make sure that my not assistants, but just blow dry styling artists would be able to work efficiently and effectively. So I just hope that you just take that into consideration. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
Oh,
so
go
much.
ahead. Oh, you had a question?
Yes, sir.
This morning, you had a young lady with you that does the hair drying and design styling, I guess.
Yes. Mhm.
So was that one of these 3 new licenses that we talked that was added, or is that already a current?
So she's under me right now as an apprenticeship, but she just wants to do blow dry styling. So this with the bill that going, I know we're not talking about that bill right now, but I don't believe that she needs a 500-hour course in order for her to know how to efficiently blow dry and style. I have taught her that. I oversee it. She does not need a whole course. She does not need to go to a school in order to get that part. I believe that she can get an hour. I'm all for like a Barbicide certificate course or something that's more accessible. So then that way she can get started in the blow dry styling. I believe it would just be another unnecessary barrier, especially since there's a max on how much she can make from just doing the blow dry styling as well.
Currently, I guess what I'm asking is if she just wants to do the hair blowing and styling, does she have to have a license as of right now?
Yes, she does.
Okay, and that's the 300 hours?
No, that's not that.
Oh,
She would have to go to do the 1,500 hour
okay.
because this is the new thing that they're doing right now.
What is the hair design?
Well, or the 1,000 hour course.
Is that both the same thing?
It's a different one. So the hair design is just the basically the design of hair. So it's no chemicals, no cutting, and so on and so
Okay.
forth. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Is it Jayla McDowell?
Hello. Thank you for having me. I am actually the apprentice underneath Angela. And I'll keep it short and sweet. Just basically giving my testimony a little bit. Because passing this bill would significantly change my life because I'm not really allowed or I'm not financially able to go to school to do these credit hours, especially being a single mom, and I've been going all day from him, but not being able to do that and make a living off of it. It's kind of either or. You either go to school and get these 1,500 hours for all these months, or I'll be able to be trained underneath Angela, and allow her to be able to teach me, and I can grow and build my clientele, and become more confident in myself and in my clients, and to be able to just, grow, but also make some kind of living off of it. I don't really have the time to be able to go to school, be a full-time mom, and also have a job to make a living off of this. And it's a skill that I've been doing since I was a young child, and I'm very good at it. And not to discredit those that actually have licenses and actually went to school for it. I think it would be a great opportunity for us that aren't able to really go to school, but to be able to make a living off of the skill that we have, just to blow dry and to style, not to use chemicals or use perms or try to burn anybody hair off. But to be able to just learn and grow and, use the blow drying and styling. And there's so many women that I've spoken to that have this skill, but have stories like mine and have been kind of pushed to do it under the desk and illegally because they don't have the option, or there's no other way for us to be able to do it legally, or to work as an apprentice underneath someone and to be able to grow and learn those, all of those things. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you.
All right. Well, Mr. Williams.
Yes, I just wanted to ask you a question. You hopped along pretty fast. Going back over here. How much longer do you have in your apprenticeship?
As of right now, I just started with Angela. It's something that I had been doing hair for family and stuff like that, but it was something.
Okay. Are you asking us to eliminate the training, the schooling, and the apprenticeship? You're saying just let you get to work?
Basically, to be able to work under, like to be an apprentice and to be able to work under someone that is skilled. Not necessarily saying just get out there and work, because I do believe that there may be people that try to abuse this and, hop and get sweets in salons and don't quite know what they're doing. But speaking for myself and others a couple of people that I've spoken to that actually want to do this legally, and to for those that do have that license, that we have a place that we can go and come into their salons and they can teach us, their skills, and to be able to earn some kind of living,
Okay, thank you.
All right, Diamond. And that's Cheney.
How are you guys doing today? So I know you guys seen me probably a good number of times, and I'm so welcome to introduce myself. I am Diamond Cherry. I am speaking on behalf of makeup artists in Atlanta in regards to House Bill 349, and I just want to make it clear, I definitely oppose. Why do I oppose this bill? I do believe in the fact that 300 credit hours, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm just going to make that clear, real short and sweet. Now, I've been in the industry regarding makeup artistry since the year of 2018, 2017. That's a decent amount of time just to get the exposure and experience of how to actually, have a great business. I'm not saying that we need to get rid of the licensure in its entirety. I'm just saying that, and I'm just against it for individuals like me who actually decided to take the self-sufficiency because it is a niche-based skill. I literally started at school at Georgia State as an art major, and because I could not afford my livelihood on my own, I took my art skills and applied it in makeup artistry because makeup artistry is a form of art. I'm painting. I'm literally using shadow depth in regards to color theory that I learned. Even in regards to social media has literally, the internet has literally put us in a standpoint in today's time to educate us way more than we have. And I can say for a fact that it has literally taught me in regards to my sanitation and what I was needing. Because you know why? There are individuals who are licensed that actually share their experiences to let us know what it takes to actually be great artists in this industry. One of the things that I did not understand in regards to this bill was the special events per se. Special events in regards, what is that? Please let me know, because a date, that's a special event. My birthday, your birthday, that's a special event. We have photo shoots and things like that that people do not like to actually make a big thing, but it's big to me. A lot of individuals starting from young kids that are in cheer competition look forward to my skill sets whenever their mom book their appointments with me. I have individuals going to prom that look forward to being serviced by me. Yes, you can buy all of these products at a retail store. We do makeup at home as individuals and young women as well. And I feel like if it's something that's easily to purchase, even if it is on yourself, you all know that when you are using these application products to clean your brushes as a regular individual, because you don't want to have bacteria being stuck on a product as an at-home base. I just believe that this bill opposes and causes unnecessary barriers for individuals like me, for someone who is unlicensed and who has done this for a very long time. I have went through the experience of actually having the self-sufficiency to do personal development in my own business planning, as well as going through the necessary barriers of how to actually be a sufficient and a very professional makeup artist, and learning how to build health and sanitation rules in regards to always changing my brushes whenever I'm working on clients. I'm always buying disposable brush sponges because it's very nasty to use the same brush on on a different woman. I don't believe in that. Also, for somebody who works in the retail experience, such as stores called Ulta or Sephora, if they allow me to do makeup without my license there, and I'm also speaking to individuals to sell a product to help make their profits in that margin, and they are taking my experience over the last however many years for a very minimum wage that is not going to support my livelihood, don't even want to give me the hours, but that's another day. So if I am able to do that for these individuals and young women that come into these stores, and they are exempting the licensure for me to provide these services, why can I not be able to have a business providing an art skill that is enhancing the natural beauty of these individuals that cannot do it themselves and do not want to do it themselves? I just believe that the law, I believe the hours should be a little bit minimum. Thank you. I have answers.
Thank you, Ms. Cherry. And I just want to, as a reminder, if you would just remind the committee about the carve-outs, where we do actually in the state currently allow individuals to apply makeup in certain situations. Could you just give us a reminder of what that is?
Yes, so makeup artistry is exempt in regards to retail stores such as Sephora chains and Ulta chains. Also, you are able to, the state actually exempted makeup artistry and blow dry styling for the film and production industry. So if the film and production industry is able to come in and use our skill set to make money, why can I not make money in this state as well? In the city of Atlanta, that is very booming and thriving, and I'm trying to be a part of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I will be brief because I got my dinner call about 30 minutes ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Question for licensure. You said you believe 300 hours is way too much. What would you suggest would be reasonable?
Personally, I believe at least a minimum of 150 hours or whatever sanitation that you need. If you're going to put me through school for licensure and it's the 300 hours, I think at least the curriculum should be mandatory in regards to business development, marketing, actually teaches the different types of techniques. Because when I looked into the school system, it's 1,500 credit hours. I'm only learning 2 months worth of makeup, and I'm not even learning special effects. I'm not learning wedding. I'm not learning anything that's going to help me supersede and be versatile in my skill set. And I had to do it on my own.
Okay. So your answer was 150 hours minimum, and then you also interjected curriculum.
Yes, ma'am. So my thing is, if you did keep it to 300 hours, at least make the curriculum for it, because my problem is I've actually took the time where I did not want to go to school for art anymore, and I did want to pursue being into makeup. 1,500 credit hours right now is a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. So with you doing what you're doing now, or did you have any formal training at all?
No, what I did, so let me tell you my story. I'll make it real brief and sweet for you.
Make it brief, please.
Thank you. Basically, I started doing makeup when I was in high school. I really thought I was pretty good at it. And then what happened was I tried on myself and actually took the technique, because there used to be this company that would sell products that taught me how to do my own eyeshadow when I bought the eyeshadow palette. And I thought that was amazing. So you done helped me get the self-sufficiency. Thank you. I've invested. What I did after that was, it was a big time where YouTube was growing. I know we're all in a changing time. Everything's getting a little bit easy since they put this and that tactic about it being so simple. I'm not using chemicals. I'm literally using products I can buy from the store. What I did was, after I learned how to do the eyeshadow, I wanted to gain more confidence in regards to my own community, because there were a lot of individuals that were getting makeup done that did not feel confident. And I wanted to be able to be that individual that was helping my community become more confident in makeup and actually grow and to be confident in their own skill set so they can do it themselves. I'm not just providing a service with them, I'm also providing educational purpose for them to take home. So therefore, if they don't want to come back to me to spend money, at least they learn something to know how to do it themselves.
Thank you.
Quick question for you.
Yes.
Right now, you don't have to have anything, correct? Unless we pass this bill.
Right now, I have to go to school for 1,500 credit hours.
So hang on a minute then. What's this for makeup artist completion of 300 hours online?
Right now, this is the new bill that they're trying to pass. They're lessening the credit hours to 300. I've been doing this without any hours at all.
That's my question. Right
Yeah.
now, you don't have to have anything, correct?
I do. I'm supposed to have 1,500 credit hours in order to provide these services.
Okay.
I am. I'm hustling. I'm sorry. It's hard out here. Sorry.
So I'm confused now.
Mhm.
So right now you got to have 1,500 hours. And what was you told me it cost if you to go to school to do that right now?
It costs $20,000 for a year, and I cannot provide a living for myself because every job that I've asked to go to school for will not allow me to really take the time off.
All right. And so what this bill is doing, line 324 through 326, it's less than hours from 1,500 to 300.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. 20 grand.
All right. So we should drop that.
Is that all the questions for me today? Thank you. Have a great evening, you guys.
This damn bill's so fucked up. You good? So if we cut this part out, it's gonna go back to $1,500.
Say what?
Yes, you're correct. This, you're correct. So the bill last year Carved them out completely. I thought she was adding another license. She is, she's adding a state license. Then why would not?
Good evening, Chair and committee members. Thank you for having us this late in the evening. I will be very brief. I am a business owner. I've been in the industry for decades. I started in skincare and makeup. I'm also a licensed master cosmetologist, a hairstylist in film, and a concerned citizen. I just want to start off by saying that I'm not in opposition of the total bill, but I am in opposition of the niche licensing that is proposed. And I'm also, in addition to the niche licensing, and I know we're not discussing this right now, but any deregulation of our industry. As a salon owner and also an owner of a blow dry bar, I'm very versed in what the thermodynamics is and what the damage it can cause when it comes to hair, skin, and scalp. I've worked with hair fibers from all over the world. And when it comes to professional products and professional styling tools, which include blow dryers and hot tools, blow dryers can get up to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. With flat irons and curling irons, it gets up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. So to put that into perspective, your residential ovens, the max temperature is 500 to 550 degrees. So to say that there is not a need for education, to say that there is not a need for regulation in the standards in which we are currently operating in is not true. Blow dryers and hot tools can definitely cause damage not only to the hair, but it can cause damage to the skin. And according to the National Board of Medicine, 86% of burns are thermal burns that come into hospitals and medical facilities. So there is a need for education as well as training when it comes to blow dry styling and utilizing hot tools. When it comes to Afro curly hair, there is not just the technique of blow dry styling. Usually you're getting the curling iron or flat iron very close to the scalp, which those temperatures can go up to, as I communicated, 400 to 500 degrees, which can cause scalp burning. It is not just blow dry styling that will be taking place for all types of hair. In closing, I do want to say that as a hairstylist in film, there is a misconception, and it's been said on multiple occasions. As a hairstylist in film, you are required to have a license. There is no exemption of having a license for film. You have to have a license. Now, there may be some people that go through the cracks, but you do have to have a license to perform hair services within the film industry. Union or non-union, you are required.
All right. Questions? Number 25.
I'm loud. All right,
Mhm.
quick question. So you said you run a blow dry bar.
Yes, I have for over 8 years. 8. Most of them have. I've had. I don't have any apprentices. They are all licensed master cosmetologists or an esthetician because I have makeup services at the salon as well.
Okay, so it's not just a blow dry.
No, they blow dry and makeup services.
Okay,
Mhm.
so all 8 employees in the blow dry bar are master 15.
They all have licenses. So either a master cosmetologist or a hair designer license. Yes. Or esthetician.
Esthetician.
Mhm.
I don't think we have we're creating the hair designer.
No, we currently have 11 licenses. So esthetician, nail technician, hair designer, barber 1, barber 2, barber, master barber, apprentice barber, cosmetology barber, hair designer, master cosmetologist. So we have an abundance of
Yeah, I got it.
categories
So the
right
hair
now.
designer's 1,300 hours. All right. Okay, so everybody in the blow dry bar has all that.
Yes.
There's no apprentices at all.
No, we don't have any
Okay. But
apprentices.
so would it be fair to say that if you did have apprentices, let's just say you hired 2 people because you had a lot of big crowd, you
Mhm.
had a big wedding coming up, so
Mhm.
you had a bunch of people in, and you hired them as apprentices to come in. You would train them for a day and probably let them blow dry hair, you think? I mean, you see what I'm
If they
saying?
were hired as an apprentice, my business operates on processes and systems.
Sure.
And so I have training manuals that even as a master cosmetologist or a licensed professional, you still go through our training program. In addition to, if someone comes in as an apprentice, they still have to go through the licensing process to become an apprentice. That is not a 24-hour situation.
Right, but as far as your training and your manuals for your store specific procedures, if you will,
Mhm.
is that a week-long training before
It's 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
But you
So-
already have a license. So if
Oh,
it's,
but I'm saying if perchance you just brought somebody in that didn't have a license, that just wanted to come in and blow dry hair as an apprentice, like this lady over here
Mhm.
spoke, if they did the 2-week training under you, would you, and your procedures,
Mhm.
would you feel comfortable leaving her or him alone to do the blow drying?
Absolutely not.
Okay, fair enough.
No. No, there's more to just showing someone a technique. When you speak of blow dry styling, you're talking about a technique. So if there's more to it than just showing someone how to blow dry style. The reason my staff is licensed is because they've gone through the education, they've gone through the training. They can identify diseases, they can identify psoriasis, they can identify scabies, they can identify lice. They can identify certain things that can cause a spread of diseases, not only within our salon, but with other customers that can take that home back to their families. So in addition to learning and knowing how to identify the skin and scalp and hair, they also have to go through a process of understanding cleanliness, sanitation. If someone has a blood spill, if someone cuts their finger, all of those things have to be, would have to be taught to someone if they don't go through the proper licensing with education. So that gives me as a business owner the assurance when I know they've gone through that training, that even though if they may not be abreast on a technique, we can teach the technique. But the basic foundation of your training of standards and safety, health safety standards and things of that nature, that I know they acquired in school. Mhm.
Sure. Sorry. And so I know that from the sound of it, you operate maybe a little bit different than some people. Are there master cosmetologists around the state that hire apprentices? to do this?
Yes, there are. Yes, that's actually.
I'm a master cosmetologist.
Mm-hmm.
My business comes to me for a job.
Mhm.
About doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You say, come to
Mm-hmm.
And what would I feel comfortable allowing my representative Smith to be able to go do his, go to the back and wash hair, or go to the back and blow dry somebody's hair, you see what I'm saying?
Right. Well, if mhm.
Smith can do something.
So if Representative Smith is coming to me to work full-time, 40 hours a week, I would say Representative Smith needs at least 6, 7 to 9 months of training. It's more than just blow drying because I would have to go through theory with him. So theory includes me going through the anatomy of hair, what hair is. I know you all are not, this is not your profession. So YouTube has made this a hobbyist, and we're not hobbyists. We're not just styling hair. We're not just, it's more to the art and science of cosmetology than what you all see that meets the eye or what you get into someone's chair and experience.
If you're hiring master cosmetologists for think the conversation that it would take me 9 months to teach Representative Smith to put makeup on might be a stretch.
So I understand, right? Mm-hmm. Right, right. As a makeup artist and as a skincare and makeup artist, and having that with also within my license and my education, I would say, no, it does not take 9 months for me to teach Mr. Smith how to apply makeup, how to analyze the skin, how to know what type of moisturizing base to put on the skin before you start to apply makeup, or for him to know sanitation, that certain chemicals can affect people's skin that you're using. Your brushes have to be cleaned after each time, as well as you can possibly spread herpes to the eyes and lips if you're not careful with what you're doing with makeup and that makeup application. Yes, you're welcome. Any other questions?
All right, Representative Hutchinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a question for you, but I think you sort of addressed it. So what I really need to know is there anyone here that can differentiate the differences between doing cosmetology for the film industry versus the regular public? Or is there?
The difference between doing cosmetology for film, versus
Licensure, the licensure.
that
There
there isn't a difference.
Okay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, y'all. I know many of y'all. Oh, she's saying don't move. Met many of y'all. I work for the Institute for Justice. My name's Jordan Benegas. We did an analysis of this bill, but also the state's regulatory. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. To your question, to clarify, there is currently an exemption that exempts the film industry from applying makeup, not blow dry, but a makeup
Okay.
on film sets. I think there's some confusion because it sounds like there are union standards that don't allow for unlicensed artists to apply that makeup. But as far as the state law goes, it is exempt. That's also exempt in retail settings where product is sold. So unlicensed makeup artists are selling currently at retail locations.
Like Ulta and Sephora.
Exactly.
All right, hold on just a minute. Since you've decided to be an interloper, you can get a question. All right, Chairman Washburn.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think everybody is really maybe a little confused here, so I have a couple of questions for you.
Yes, sir.
As we sit here today, without this bill passing, are makeup artists and these people that do blow drying and styling exempt from licensure
No, sir.
at all?
No, sir.
Well, tell me where they are then.
Right now, they would be required to complete one of the 3 big licenses, which meaning a cosmetology, barbering, or esthetician. Those 3 vary slightly between 1,300, 1,500, and I want to say 1,100 hours, all above 1,000. And to practice those 2 services that you mentioned, makeup application and blow dry styling, those fall under one of those 3. They are not exempt. To practice either one of those, you would need to complete one of those 3.
Follow up, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
So in this bill, what are the hours required now
The
or
most,
proposed?
yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, the most recent proposal is 300 hours for makeup and 500 for blow dry styling.
And follow up, Mr. Chairman, were one of your people that spoke a few minutes ago proposing less hours?
Yes. And what we propose and what 6 other states have already exempted blow dry styling entirely from licensure, and 13 states have already exempted makeup application entirely from licensure. No data suggesting that any additional or increase in health and safety incidents.
One more, Mr. Chairman. Did you just say 6 states don't require either of these to be licensed at all?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. And I think we're finished with you too.
Good, okay, okay.
Of course you do.
Oh, yeah, good. You all have gotten everything so confused. Half of you want to get rid of license and half of you want to increase it, and somewhere down the middle. I'm totally, but first question. What's the difference in a sweet barber and a barber? A sweet cosmetologist, and is that just a name in the bar?
So the suites are, just think of Massage Envy or play, well, you may not go to Massage Envy. So
No,
think of
let
think
me
of a
leave.
think of a
I don't
box.
remember to be in here,
Think
but
of a
answer
box.
that.
Huh? Yeah, okay. So think of a storage facility that's indoors that has just doors. So not even a 10 by 10, maybe. It's small rooms that are within a bigger building, pretty much. So like a doctor office that has different rooms in a doctor office. So it's a small room, smaller units in a bigger facility.
Okay, move on to your bar. What's the
But
difference?
it's just, it's the name.
Just the
Instead
name?
of saying
Oh, she was
salon
serving yak.
or, yeah. Well, if you have the permit to do so, you can serve champagne and wine. Yes.
Listen, you all have,
Um,
I'm almost ready to look like Ridley. I'm gonna cut all mine off after you describe those
Oh,
diseases and
yeah,
stuff.
it's
Lord.
it's a lot. It's,
All right.
it's definitely not just a small feat.
Representative, is that all you need to talk about? You've done?
I'm through.
All right, thank you.
I am.
All right. Next up. Thank
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Next up, we have a N. Davis. If I might ask again, brevity. People get.
I got
points.
you.
People get points in my calendar for brevity.
I got you. I'm Tasha Davis. I'm a licensed master cosmetologist of almost 30 years. Okay, so I made a couple quick notes because I didn't want to forget anything. First of all, I'm not in opposition to the bill in its entirety. My opposition is specifically of the 3 niche licenses, and I'm also against SB 354 and any form of deregulation. So as someone who was at one time a low income single mother when I graduated cosmetology school myself, I feel like I'm qualified to speak to this issue from a place of experience. Firstly, as a professional licensed professional who wants to continue to protect the professionalism of this industry, as well as the quote unquote poor people that this bill purports to help. And I just really want to stress that I don't want to minimize the importance of our training. Just because you go to YouTube and learn a skill doesn't mean that you're learning the skill correctly. Just because you learn a technique doesn't mean you're learning the technique correctly. So I do support lowering costs and increasing access for low-income individuals. However, SB 349 overlooks a system that already exists to that end, and that's apprenticeships. Apprenticeships as they currently exist in the state of Georgia provide a free, no student loan, and well-regulated path to licensure without compromising public safety. Without compromising public safety. And many internships offer both paid and unpaid apprenticeships as an entry point to a career. So if you're not making money as an apprenticeship, that's the person that you're working with. I work in a salon with other master cosmetologists. We're currently training apprentice. We pay them a living wage. So if you're not making money as an apprentice, that's on the person that you're working with. It has nothing to do with the law. I think other than that, I just want to say it's not about just blow drying hair or just applying makeup. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's really important that people are overseen, just like when you get a driver's license, right? You get your license permit and you're required to drive with a licensed driver because you're with someone who knows the law, knows the rules, has experience, and can guide you. It's pretty much the same thing. And you can work with a master cosmetologist, learn the laws, learn the rules so that you can do this safely and effectively and get paid. That's all I have to say. Thank you for
You
listening.
have one question
Oh, I'm
from
sorry.
Oh, no,
Chairman Ridley.
I was
Sorry.
talking in general, just for a second. You're right. We're not. So we have no idea. The only thing we're trying to do is figure out
I know.
on
I
this
understand.
bill, the 3 licenses that are added.
I understand.
And I'm so damn lost now. I don't even know what 3 licenses were added because
Yeah.
I thought the ones we added didn't even have a license, but now I find out they do.
Yeah.
So I'm so confused. I don't even know what to do.
I mean, in the 300
Besides strike
hours.
this whole thing except Al's mobile barber and let's just go on with it.
Yeah.
Has anybody else figured out what we're doing yet? Because I'm more lost now than I was when I showed up.
Well, after we get finished with testimony, we'll figure out what it is. Number 26 down there. Who is that?
It's me. Mr. Chairman, I know this is not the time, but when the time is right, I would like to offer an amendment.
This is not the time,
I
so
knew
we've
it.
got about 2 more people. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let's see. We have a Kevin Anthony.
Yes, I have, and I'm gonna be very brief because I believe in brevity as well. And what I wanted to say, it has also been said a lot, but I want to give you a little different perspective. My name is Kevin Anthony White. I am 35 years in this industry, a master barber. I've actually owned barber salons where we did both in the salons, right? And I would just say to the congressman that it's a little confused with it, is that what I hear from my 35 years experience is that we need to really look back in and uplift the apprenticeship, because the examples that were given about having an opportunity to be able to make money because, you know, I'm in a situation where I can't afford to go to school for $20,000, whatever. I would, as in my experience in this industry, tell that person, come work in a place where, like Ms. Kay here, has a system already in place that has been developed based on her years of experience to teach that person, and they can instantly start making money. Now, the other thing has not been considered in all of this is whose responsibility is it for in case there's a lawsuit or whatever. So if a person came in, and I don't know your name, but I'm looking at your hair because I am a board certified hair colorist, and I see that you have some great hair color, right? And you may want to have that round brushed or blow dried, right? By your stylist that you've created, that you've had a relationship with. So what's to stop you from asking her, well, you know, I know you just blow dried my hair, but can you put a little bit of curls in it? Well, you know, it's hot out and my edges get crinkly. So can you put a little relaxer on it? There's nobody here to regulate that. And she can just go underneath her counter and pull that out and to do what you ask her to do, because she's really in it because she needs to make some money. So who is regulating that? So if you allow them to just be able to open a blow dry bar and with 300 hours, don't think that people are not going to try to game the system, because you've given them that opportunity. And this is the last thing I want to say, and I'm done. I'm a certified international educator and a trainer and a developer, and I'm not opposed to the total house bill, but I am in opposition of those 3 licenses for the same reasons already shared. But however, because of my experience, I've been able to go and work with the product developers, the manufacturers, distributors, and salon owners. And what I recognize in all of that is that there's innovation that happens every day. There's innovation in the products, and there's innovation in the implements. And in that, those manufacturers of those products, they create best practices. And those best practices, they're looking to get them to the salon owners and the stylists. And how do they do that? They work through individuals that are experienced, such as myself, bring us in because they know we have the education and the experience to understand the best practices. And in that, that's how, through training and through working with experienced individuals in a salon where it's a controlled environment, that we can bring best practices. So what she said about Would he ask, how long will it take to learn how to do makeup? Or how long will it take for somebody to learn how to blow dry? You have to understand there's other things to be considered, because what you don't want to do is create a situation of unintentional consequence. And that's what she's trying to explain, is that she, as the professional that is a licensed, paying, tax-paying person that takes the responsibility and the risk, she has the opportunity to oversee. And because the state has already provided an opportunity for apprenticeship, that's a controlled environment that will solve the situation and allow somebody to come and make money when they can't afford to go to school. Thank you.
All right. And I want, thank you, before somebody up here asks another question. Let's see, Kevin, last but not least, Camilla Terrell.
Hello, everyone. I am Camelia Terrell, a salon owner for 20 years. I am the one responsible for the young lady that spoke earlier concerning the apprentice program. I have created an apprentice program about 27 years ago. I believe in the apprentice program. However, it does need to be looked at a little bit deeper. Excuse my voice. I have a manual on the program that I've written, and the process for me and the requirement for me to look at someone and consider someone as an apprentice, they must be in cosmetology. So I took the young lady on at 16 years old. My oldest apprentice is 41, and I got her when she was 14. And so this young lady, that Miss Mackey that spoke earlier, went through my process, and it's a requirement that you are in cosmetology. She was 16 years old. We had a braiding shop, and we taught her braiding techniques along with shampoo and conditioner and blow drying techniques. It is a requirement that you are in school. Cannot be overlooked because of the disorders and the disease that comes with looking at our scalp and utilizing not just implements, but products as well. We can damage someone if we can burn someone by inappropriately using a wax if you're not familiar with how to actually appropriately use it. We can burn someone with putting the wrong product on that scalp when they have a condition already, and you just automatically assume. And also Angela was exposed to product companies manufacturing, because I've worked with chemists as well and bringing products into Flourish. And so she had great exposure, and that is a must. Then I feel like if you are going to create an apprentice program, I did for her what was done for me. I went to school, and then I went to train up under someone for 6 months before I even went on my own to do anything. I trained for 6 months as if I didn't know anything, because I needed to learn, but I had completed 1,500 hours. And as well, I was a mother, a single parent from low-income housing as well. But it was something that I wanted to do. And I feel like we will make a way and to do what we want to do. And the apprentice program that the young lady has said, she was very adamant about, she can't afford to take care of her child. You're not going to be able to take care of your child by just learning how to blow dry. When you go into an apprentice program, you want to be able to learn how to do everything. When I went to school and I talked with my director of school, I said, I just want to be a makeup artist. It's her suggestion as a director, and I appreciate her today. Why don't you learn how to do everything? Because in the end, you never know what doors will open for you. And those doors that have opened for me, I have worked on film sets. I have worked for helping create products from big name products that you would use in your house. and for manufacturing, creating tools and the temperature, creating tools that you actually use on your hair, airflow tools, the blow dryers. So the lady was right when she said, why don't you go and learn everything? Why put limits on ourselves?
All right. We thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ask your question, Al.
Yes.
My quick question is, and this is for everybody here, I'm just wondering because where are the white stylists? Nobody doing nothing but black folks. I just wanted to know.
Point taken. That was the point taken, sir. It's economics. It's about the economics.
Because they knew they could get you to salivate. They all showed up tonight.
And that's why they have.
They've heard your reputation, Al. All right. Thank you, lady. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. I think y'all probably have heard enough. You know more about the profession, the ins and outs, and what's necessary. And you probably got ideas in your mind of what may be not necessary. I think there's no doubt that one of the things I've always had concerns, and that's to be sure that anybody that's doing chemicals or dealing with branding irons and anything like that, you know, they need to be well trained. If not, all they got to do is look at Jason's hairdo. Cosmetology is another subject, but I'd suggest you take a look at some of the folks like Al's face if you don't think cosmetology doesn't matter. I mean cosmetics, I'm sorry. So, but that being said, we've heard an ample amount of testimony. I want to apologize to the folks who came here tonight to testify that you didn't get a chance to testify in the subcommittee. Next time there's a cosmetology bill, they'll schedule it 3 days in advance and say, and to bring your picnic baskets with you. All right. That being said, what's the will of the committee? We have a motion. We have a second. Now, subsequent motions. That would be amendments. This would be the proper time. What's your number there, please?
26. 26. I would like to say, Mr. Chairman, if I may, is that I think one of the issues that we have perhaps with this bill, and we've heard a lot of testimony today, very little in support of the bill, either folks thinking that it doesn't go far enough or that it goes too far. I think there's a lot of issues here, and I think my thoughts here, having heard from everyone, is that we have taken some very low risk cosmetic duties, hair and cosmetic duties, and lumped them in with things that are far higher risk, things involving chemicals and things of that nature. I think that we need to address that perhaps separately. I would like to make an amendment to remove all regulatory language in this bill, with the exception of lines 688 to 707, dealing with Representative Williams' mobile Barbie. Would like to retain that language. I have spoken with Legislative Counsel. She's indicated that the language, line 688 to 707, can stand alone. Additionally, I think we have an issue with the perhaps the removal of the toilet facilities in that language on line 695.
All right. And that is your motion?
Yes, sir.
So be sure I understand this. So your motion is to basically strike all the language in the bill except for line 688 to 707, and on line 695 to strike the words "and toilet facilities."
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second to that motion? We have a second.
Did you
Well, if
second?
not, then
Did you second? No.
One exception, we just need to change, the name of line 6, 7, and 8. To reflect that only barbering and no other service or business, because terms, if you do practice and master barbering and practice of barbering too, it's part of the cleanup language. So if I could have the way to change that, and then we'd also have to change the code section, because this bill renumbers all the code sections, and so I would use one that was used in the representative's mobile barber bill, and that's 18.1, which is a reserved code section. So I just wanted to point that out. 'Cause that would-
very good. You point that out if she gets a second. We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, we do have a second. I stand corrected. All right. We have a motion and a second following Sean Marie's advice. All right. Any other further questions from any of the committee members? No? All right. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? I guess that tells me where we've been at all afternoon, doesn't it? Came to a better understanding. All right. So we have any further amendments? I don't know what other amendments you could have at this point, except on the mobile barbering. All right, if there's no further amendments, we have a bill as amended. And we have a second of it. All in favor of the bill itself, say aye. Opposed? And I second. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an interesting 2 hours plus. I want to thank you so much.